Good evening, and continuing on from my prep work for my Shapeway order from Mel's Shapeway, I have now completed doing all the adjustments that I wanted to do with the Vindicator class heavy cruiser. I've got some turrets on the top as well as some on the bottom. I've got one of my Gozanti cruisers in my very inexpensive spray paint booth. It is a cardboard box. What can you do? Anyway, so how I go about it, as you can see, I use either the stands that have already been painted and damaged in some way or another to paint them on, or alternatively I wrap them in blue painter's tape that I can easily take off later on that won't damage any of the model. So these are obviously going to be in a imperial tone. So I generally use Army Painter products sort of thing for a lot of the spray cans. I just find it easy to purchase here in Australia, as almost every second hobby store around will generally have that, rather than either a Games Workshop, a Valero spray paint, or any of the other generic brand spray paints sort of thing. So I try and concentrate with Army Painter, and then I will generally use GW fine paints for more of the smaller paint action because of just the range of colors and tones that they can give me. So with the Imperial, I'm using what's called Primer Uniform Grey. It'll give the model a rather grey. This down here is actual uniform grey from a previous model, the Lancer class frigates that you may have seen in one of my earlier YouTube clips showing the details of all my fleets that I have, or alternatively you can skip to that video after you finish watching here. So obviously my rebels, which are currently sitting here, I won't be able to do yet because I'll need to make sure that my ones in the booth are going to be dried before I take them off. They are going to get a coating of skeletal bone. This is an off-white color by Army Painter, and I actually find it's quite good to do most of the rebel colors, simply because it's not quite a white tone. I find spray painting with a white tone, sometimes the details get a little bit mucky because you just don't know how much spray you've already painted on a model. I also find that sometimes when I'm doing something that is a grey plastic base product or a really dark, the white still will, the colour from the initial base will bleed through the white. So I prefer something that has a bit of pigmentation in it to completely cover it. So obviously with the spray can, obviously shake it up a few times. I generally try and test to make sure that I got it, and then I just generally do a quick, very light spray sort of thing, just go like this. And that's all I pretty much do for the first step. And that's pretty much it. I'll then move the model around so I can actually do the other side. Try keeping it as light as possible, because obviously the heavier the spray that you put on, the actual less details there is. And then what I'll do is I'll actually pick up the model, and as you can see, just do the underside. And as you can see, it's pretty much nicely undercoated. From here, I'll leave it to dry over the next 24 hours or so. And then if I come back and it needs a recoat, then that's when I'll add it. I generally leave it in my shed in a well-ventilated area sort of thing for the next overnight while it's waiting to be dried. And yeah, that's it. It looks pretty good even if it's still slightly wet. I'll just bring it out into the light a bit more. Yeah. So already that grey is pretty similar to a imperial colour. Very similar. It can get lighter by using it, highlights, etc. But as a starting point, it's actually quite nice. And you can see that I can get quite a lot of the rivet details from just a very light spray over it. Anyway, that will do for tonight's spray. Now to go and enjoy some time inside. Well, good luck and happy gaming. Bye.